Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Texans Probe. Today, we're with a special guest. We have Texans offensive lineman Derrick Graham here with us. We're going to kind of ask him some questions, heading up into training camp. I know you've already reported. You got the vets reporting tomorrow, so definitely an exciting time for everyone around here. Derrick's an undrafted free agent, hoping to obviously make the roster and continue as a Texan. Obviously, you have some prior connections, which we'll talk about. But just wanted to start with, obviously, college football is a changing landscape at this point. You yourself, you hit the portal twice. I know you committed to Texas A&M in 2024 and then ended up at Tulane after spending the spring at A&M. So how was kind of that process for you? And how did, you kind of handle that, obviously, with the just changing landscape?
Oh yeah, it's definitely the transfer portal as far as like college goes is definitely a whirlwind. It's definitely a very chaotic time, but I feel like it was a smooth transition for me. Obviously, going from Troy to Texas A&M, doing 4 years at Troy and then transferring to Texas A&M. Obviously, I wasn't there too long. I was there for a semester and then I ended up at Tulane. But I feel like all the three of those spots treated me well, honestly, and it was easy to go from Troy to Texas A&M to Tulane, and I really just appreciate my time at all three of those spots, and it was a pretty easy transition for sure.
That's awesome to hear. Obviously, at Troy, you had kind of some relationships with certain current Texans now. Obviously, offensive line coach Cole Popovich was your offensive line coach there, and then Jake Andrews was also on that Troy team. So, how is your kind of relationship with those guys, and was that part of the reason you committed to the Texans in the undrafted process?
That was definitely one of the main reasons why I definitely committed to the Texans in the undrafted process. Obviously, Coach Popovich was my offensive line coach at Troy in 2022, and he was there for a year. And I feel like he elevated my game to the highest point whenever he was there. He pushed me to be my very best every day. And then as far as Jake goes, yeah, me and Jake go way back. Jake was actually my right guard when I got to Troy in 2020, and I was the right tackle. So yeah, me and Jake have a great relationship on the field and off.
Awesome. Yeah. I knew about the Popovich one. I had to do some research on when Jake left Troy because I know I know y'all kind of overlapped there for a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
And I know, especially in college, you played some left tackle and right tackle as well. I know, maybe could move inside to guard at some point. For you, what is your kind of ideal position in the NFL? If like you had to pick what position you wanted to play, or obviously if you feel flexible moving around into different spots, what would be your ideal position?
Me personally, I feel like I can play multiple positions across the line. Obviously, most of my career, I've been a tackle, left
Mm-hmm.
tackle, but I have experience at right tackle. I feel like I can be a swing tackle in the league, and if I was asked to move in the interior, I feel like I can do that as well.
Yeah, because I know, obviously, I know at Troy you also spent some time as being a sixth lineman, which the Texans did some last year as well. So
Right.
that could obviously be a role for someone as you try to kind of get up in the roster, like we talked about.
Definitely.
So for you, how has the process of minicamp and OTAs been? Obviously, I know you kind of were picked up later on in the process, not necessarily there for the rookie
Right.
minicamp for the Texans. So how was kind of the adjustment process, and maybe who were some of the guys that kind of helped you along in that process? Obviously, a lot of these veterans on the team have already been through this kind of process. So who was maybe there that, to kind of help guide you throughout this process and get you ready for training camp?
I feel like we have a great group of guys in our offensive line room. I feel like Jake obviously was probably like the number one guy to help me with the transition. I talked to him. I could talk to him about anything just because I've known him the longest. But it's a lot of many different guys along this process throughout OTAs and minicamp has like helped me, taken me under their wing. But I feel like the main thing for me was as far as like the transition was just getting in the playbook for sure. Just making sure because a lot of it is some similar stuff to what we did at Troy, but it's just like different terminology. But main thing for me was just getting in the playbook and just adjusting on the fly.
Yep. And I know I saw you and Ed and some other guys were working out the other day, so I know
Right.
you've kind of been in there
Yeah. And
getting the
yeah, that's my
workouts
guy. Yeah, Ed's my
in.
guy.
Yep. And there you go. I mean, if you end up playing some right tackle, he'll be the right
Yeah,
guard right there. So there
he's
you
my
go.
guy.
And then in your short time in Houston, so obviously the offense is kind of people in Houston kind of feel pretty confident about the defense. The defense has been
Right.
wrecking havoc in the NFL for a couple of years now. So the offense is kind of what everyone wants to hear about. How have you felt about the offense in the short time you've been here? And where do you think the group could head? Obviously, heading long term? Obviously, at this point, it's hard to really tell because it's so
Right.
early on. But how do you feel like y'all are progressing? And like you said, getting in the playbook, and how comfortable do y'all feel with that?
Yes, I definitely feel as if on offense we're definitely progressing very well from what I can see from OTAs and mini camp, and obviously we're hoping to keep pushing the transition very well in training camp as we approach as well. But I feel like we have the tools and the coaches and personnel to do something very special on offense. Obviously, we know how good our defense is, but just going up against them every day in practice is only gonna make us better. So I definitely feel as if we're gonna do some big things on offense this year for sure.
Yeah. So, final question here. We're just going to throw this out. Through the time that you've been in Houston, or even in college, was there, maybe one player that maybe isn't like a marquee name, or someone that you kind of had some issues blocking, or guys that were underrated players?
Underrated players. That's a great question. Playing, well, to be honest with you, playing at the Division 1 level,
Yeah.
you're gonna play against a good guy across from you just about every week. So I can't really say as far as underrated, but I've definitely had my matchups. We actually played this past season. Northwestern number 4 was a good defense end. Ole Miss had a good defense end. So I ran into a couple good matchups for sure.
Yeah, I always think that's an interesting question because, like last offseason, I was, able to talk with Titus Howard about the same thing, and he kind of said someone that I don't even think is in the NFL anymore, who was a guy that was just really underrated. Some guys just have the moves that maybe you don't have an answer for, or just some guys, attack weakness as well. So
Definitely.
it's always an interesting kind of idea, especially on especially on the lines when so many things happen in that group. So.
Right.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you for coming on. Best
No
of luck in
problem.
training camp. I know you'll have y'all's first practice coming up soon, so excited to get out there. And yeah, man, just appreciate you for coming on. And
I appreciate you.
yep, and we will see y'all next time. And obviously, I'll be doing a ton of training camp content coming up for all y'all out there. So appreciate Derek for coming on, and we'll see y'all next time.